The Boys is what we're here to talk about today. I think that's all we're allowed to play, legally speaking. Even that might be too much. We're here to talk about The Boys Season 3. This is Half a Clue TV review.
Bum, bum, bum.
That's what we call ourselves here. I'm Ron. I'm your host today, and I'm joined here today by the lovely
Rosie.
Rosie, hey. How you doing?
Doing A-okay.
Yeah.
Glad to be here with the boys.
What are you drinking there?
Tea?
What kind of tea is it?
It's a rose tea with some peach oolong.
Rose, drinking rose tea. It's a bit predictable, don't you think?
I agree. I'm ashamed. Okay. I am what I am.
So we're here to talk about The Boys Season 3. That is The Boys Season 3.
The Boys Season 3.
Hey, whoa, we're going to get copyrighted for that. But yeah, honestly, I think just leading the cart before the horse, great season. I loved it.
I mean, I feel like The Boys, it can't miss. There's like, I mean, there are parts where I would maybe be like, oh, well, maybe they could this or that. But overall, I'm a satisfied customer. I'm coming back for more. I'm recommending it to everybody I know.
Yeah, that's fair. I think compared to the other seasons, this one, I think just it cashed in on a lot of the potential and things that they were setting up from the other seasons, which is great because unlike season 2, which I did enjoy, and I think it's a great season of television, I was like, I feel like there's still so much they left on the table. And they did with this season as well, but they actually, still felt more satisfying, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and it's a promise that they're going to keep it coming.
Okay, so today we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're just going to try to go through the main characters, like, you know, the big ones who have like major arcs this season, and there are quite a few, honestly. And we're going to try to just, you know, break down what they went through, their arcs and things like that. So
we've got a little yarn chart here going through all the characters and their different journeys.
So I think starting off, it's good to start off with one of the characters who really just kicked off the show.
Who are we starting off with?
A-Train.
A-Train.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Start off with A-Train then.
A-Train, I think, had probably his best season so far, I would say. I think season 1 was good, but it was mixed. I think that one he was just more straight of a villain. This was like somewhat of a path of a redemption arc, but at the same time he just
almost where he's definitely in this season more human than ever before.
Yeah. I think the past 2 seasons, but like especially season 1, he was seen more as just kind of just like a villain.
Jerk.
Yeah, he was just a dick.
Villain.
Yeah. And then he's been humbled severely because at the end of the last season, he had his heart condition. He almost died, and they're just like, you can't run anymore. And he's dealing with a lot.
Basically powerless, trying to figure out who he is. Because without his superpower, without being part of the 7, who is he?
Yeah.
Who is A-Train?
But I like that even then, it's like from such a selfish and self-centered person like A-Train, it's still to the lens of like, he just wants to stay relevant. He still wants to be making money, and he, more than anything else, just doesn't want to go back to he doesn't want to be like a regular schmuck or a person. He's just like, no, fuck that. I got to stay like famous. I got to stay making money. So then he just looks around. He's like, well, what can I do? Oh, you know what I'll do? I'll try to, you know, represent the culture. And it's
so
like,
wait for it. Wait for it. He comes up with A-Train to Africa.
Yikes.
Yikes.
And I like how even Ashley's like, what the fuck? She's like horrified, like, oh God, no. Yeah, and then he eventually, of course, everyone just sees straight through him. Everyone just sees exactly for what he is, what he's actually doing.
Yeah, like, are you really trying to capitalize on the fact that you're the black hero?
Yeah, exactly. Noir, he sadly almost doesn't count because of a
almost
scene
doesn't count as like a person.
Yeah, like the way that they have like Vought has presented him is just like more of just like
a shadow.
He's a shadow ninja character. That's pretty much it. Which we can get into Noir's story later. Which I loved his stuff.
Totally take back that statement once we get to the Noir thing.
Yeah,
he's definitely a person.
His biggest point of conflict, of course, was with Blue Hawk, who is terrorizing minority neighborhoods, mostly black neighborhoods. And his brother brings it up to him fairly. Like, he's like, okay, if you're really trying to like do something, if you really are trying to like actually make a difference here, then hold this dude accountable. You're the only person out of us like that can actually do that.
Yeah,
that has the
lives
power.
have been lost. This guy's clearly abusing his authority and
Yeah.
policing too hard. So very relevant.
Yeah, he's super brutal. Again, yeah, like always, like all the seasons, I feel like they're definitely touching on
Real problems.
the real political and social issues that we deal with today, and a lot of times the fakeness that comes with it too. I don't want to get too deep into it, but there's
Don't want
definitely
to get flagged for anything.
yeah, but there's definitely people who are genuinely trying to help and do stuff, and then there's other people who are just basically jumping on a bandwagon or just trying to
For the sake of their own success.
yeah, exactly.
A train.
Yeah, exactly. And he has one of my favorite moments where he has that Kylie Jenner spoof moment where he the people are rioting and he just walks over with the drink A train, whatever energy drink.
Yeah,
And
I remember when that was happening, I was like, oh, wow, are they really going for redemption for A Train this soon? I'm impressed. Oh, no, of course not. This is
it's the most
an advertisement.
The most shallow corporate version of that, of trying to essentially virtue signal with just zero substance behind it. Just like, oh, look, this is me. Just, oh, look, we're stopping racism, you guys. And it's like, no, not
we
really.
fixed it.
Yeah.
Also, drink A Train's energy drink or whatever.
Yeah.
Terrible.
He has one of my favorite moments with him also where it's like a genuine heart-wrenching moment after Blue Hawk goes apeshit and what is he like? He kills someone or does he not kill? I think he kills one dude.
A Train is like, all right, so how am I going to fix this based off of what his brother has said? So he's like, I'm going to take Blue Hawk into the community, have him hear what the people are saying, and make him apologize for over policing these people. And then he does, and then they start, of course, they're disgruntled. Like, this guy's a jerk. This Blue Hawk guy, lives have been lost.
He's just reading off of a paper. And the most
so
just
disingenuous.
He's like, oh, yeah, I'm so sorry for what happened. Anyway, here's like 10 grand. I'm leaving. Bye. And
he thinks he could just buy them,
Yeah.
which is like a huge problem with the heroes, man. It's always about money. It is more than anything a big company.
They're a corporation.
Yeah.
Their main goal, no matter what, is money. It's just that bottom line.
Yeah, so they get really upset, totally warranted, and then he feels attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts, quote, defending himself.
Yeah.
Basically, people get beaten up. Regular people without powers, without weapons, without means of defending themselves. He with his, what is his power anyways? I don't remember. What's Blue Hawk do?
I don't know. They don't go into details, I think, explaining what his actual power is. But he seems to have like that standard strength and vulnerability. That's all we kind of see, really.
Well, he starts putting it against these people. And then that becomes like a big thing.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, he ends up paralyzing A-Train's brother. And putting him in the hospital and paralyzing A-Train's brother. Although I will say, I did rewatch that scene. I was like, when does he hit his brother?
He knocks him into some stuff.
He doesn't, though. That was a different guy.
Was that a different guy? Maybe it was a stunt man.
No, I mean, maybe. In that case, it was poorly done. But, whatever. It's fine. It's, just a little nitpicking. I just thought it was funny that I looked back. I was like, I don't think he ever actually hits his brother.
Really? It happened so fast I didn't catch it.
Yeah, because I rewatched that scene, and I was like, I don't think he hit him. But, whatever. It's fine. So he paralyzes him, and then A-Train is, for the first time, really dealing with the consequences of, oh, wow, a superhero person hurting someone.
That I know.
Yeah, that I actually care about. Again, still working through that lens of selfishness and everything, which again, very fitting. It's great writing.
I mean, if you see it all around you and you don't learn something from it, it's gonna have to happen to you for you to understand that there's consequences.
Yeah, for a person like him, that's probably the closest he'll really get. And then when Huey confronts him during HEROGASM, which was, I think, maybe the best episode in the whole series. One of the best, if not it's up there for sure.
The whole episode, hard to say. There was a lot of good stuff this season. It was definitely the most, hopefully everyone listening saw that episode.
The not safe
wild.
For work. Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah, it's very wild. But Huey confronts him while he's roided up on some Temp V, and A-Train like I think a shock of a lot of people, he like genuinely apologizes.
He showed like the first real sign of growth.
Yeah, because he like Huey says, he
humbled.
never actually apologized before. He never actually dealt with it. Again, he just did what Blue Hawk did and just like kind of wrote it off, and that was it. And this is him just being like, no, dude, like I'm actually really sorry.
I can sympathize with you now.
Yeah, but then Huey, again with his thing where he was roided up on V, he was really just looking for a fight. Now he can actually maybe not like take A-Train like head on. I feel like if A-Train was fully powered, he would probably like destroy Huey.
Yeah.
Or it would be a decent fight because like he's like teleporting and like super speed. That's always been like an interesting versus, you know.
That would be so cool to see.
It would be really dope.
I'm
honestly.
kind of sad we missed out on that.
Yeah.
But it just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, it was still really funny though when he like actually punches A-Train and A-Train's like, "How did you do that?
What the heck?"
That actually like hurt him. He's like, "What the fuck?" Which is great. And yeah, and then of course his final moment when he's with
his brother,
he goes to
who's
like
now paralyzed.
Yeah, and his brother's like, "You killed Blue Hawk. That's not what I wanted." Again, just not. It's because he does the moment where he actually kills Blue Hawk, which was one of the most graphic deaths.
Oh my
in the show.
God, I think I
Brutal.
looked away. Honestly, I think at some point I was like, "Oh no!" Like wincing.
Yeah, brutal. This show does that a lot. It makes you look away for many reasons, but it was
God,
one of the most brutal deaths for sure. And yeah, and
A-Train basically has a heart attack. You saw the show,
and I was like, if he dies here, I think this actually feels like a decent like closure to his story. Like he did a lot, and giving it up here, it's like unfortunately that he's murdering somebody
and doesn't really have like a full arc.
Yeah,
but you know, it would probably say that some people are just.
What are you gonna say?
Oh no. You just can't save some people. Not
Yeah.
exactly the message I think that we want to be putting out.
Yeah.
So like it's fine that he didn't die.
Yeah, I think it's fine they didn't.
It would have been tragic for sure, but
yeah. But then his brother again holding him accountable, being like, "That's not what we wanted. That's not really satisfying. That's not really justice. You're not really changing anything for anybody else. Like other heroes are still going to continue to be held unaccountable.
yeah.
This shit's still going to keep happening. And now, like Blue Hawk, if anything, goes down kind of like a martyr. Like everyone's kind of like, oh, what a great guy that guy was, and that's it. That's the end of the story. When they really wanted to see him like in prison or just actually again dealing with the consequences of his actions.
Yeah, he can't suffer for his actions. He's dead.
And then his brother like turns on him and just basically tells him like,
shuns
him. Yeah, just gives him the cold shoulder. He's just like, get out of here, dude. Or he doesn't. It's not cold at all. It's very hot. He just yells at him. He's like, get the hell out of here.
In between him murdering Blue Hawk and his brother disowning him, he does get Blue Hawk's heart, which I think is very symbolic. There's no way this is a literal change of heart and it's not a figurative change of heart. Like, we're going to see some turnaround in the future, right? With A-Train, do you think so?
I think so.
He seemed really disgusted by his company during the meeting with
Homelander at the end. Yeah, when Homelander's giving his whole spiel, like at first he tells everyone, "Hey, I murdered Black Noir," and then he gives A-Train shit for he's like, "How could you kill one of your own kind?" And it's like, dude, Homelander has killed so many. He's killed I don't know how many of his own fellow.
He literally just confessed to murdering Black Noir.
Yeah, so he just looks at it like, what the fuck? And you can tell, like, as he sees what happens with Ashley too, he has some of the best reactions where he's like, what? Like Ashley's hair is completely falling out.
I don't even know these people.
Yeah, and whatever he told, well, I mean, we know what he told the Deep to go murder a senator, and it's just like you can see that like the cogs are turning, which is unfortunate because he had his big moment that I forgot to touch on when after like Homelander just shits on him in front of everybody else, and then the Deep also like shits on him too, like just slaps away his ideas. He gets confronted by Supersonic, who's like, "Hey, dude."
Oh, Supersonic.
Yeah, he tells him like, "Dude, we can deal with this. Like, hey, we're looking for a chance to do this, whatever," and blah blah. Completely turns him in.
Basically,
just betrays him.
Supersonic's like, "Hey, we're gonna mutiny," and A-Train's like, "I'm going to narc on you to get in good with Homelander." And then I think during that final meeting, he's like realizing he can't surround himself with the people he does care about, like his family.
Yeah.
And he's stuck with these people.
And I think Starlight gives him like the best line where she's just like, "Why are you so desperate to be with people who hate you?" And it's like, oof, that's like that's brutal. But I think he definitely needed to hear that. So
Yeah, I think that this is gonna be a solid turning point this season for A-Train.
I hope so. He's
not
had a few
gonna lie.
chances.
Yeah, I hated him to begin with. He
Yeah.
sucked. He's definitely the first like terrible superhero you meet, given that he killed
Robin.
Robin, right? I mean, so right off the bat, you're like, dude, screw this guy. And I think that like during this season, there are a few times, even maybe in the last season, where I was kind of rooting for him. But I think this is the real turning point.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see what happens.
We've been talking about A-Train for like 15 minutes.
I know. We'll try to do this a little faster here. But the next character, which is very related to A-Train, Huey. Huey has an interesting arc. I've heard some people were a little frustrated with him, but essentially he's dealing with what?
What were people saying?
Well, I'll get into it, but like it's basically
tell me.
He's dealing with like an inferiority complex because he starts off the season on a high note. He's like, "Yeah, we're taking down Soups like the right and legal way.
I'm working in the building.
Yeah, we're holding them accountable." He's like, "I'm doing this," but Starlight is still like kind of fighting his battles for him, so he feels like a little emasculated. And then when he finds out that the senator, I forgot her name. It turns out that she is a fraud and she's actually a Soup and she's killed.
Big probably reveal. More. Who's her daddy?
Yeah, and her dad is Gustavo Fring. No, I'm just kidding. But
she's been eating chicken every day for her entire life.
Yeah, but he feels like shit. Like he feels like everything I was doing was like for nothing, and his motivation then becomes like I have to do this butcher's way, which I've understand some people were like that doesn't feel like a strong enough motivation for him to go back to Butcher and to just be completely on Butcher's side, because kind of from that moment forward he does completely side with Butcher, which I kind of get. That is like a big pivot because he was like again dealing with the fallout and kind of like standing up to him to just immediately kind of not becomes his lackey, but he really does kind of just fall behind whatever Butcher wants this season. But I think it's a mixed bag, you know, like one, he's like, again, he's dealing with like the fallout of what happened, you know, with the senator, and like nothing really worked out
because he thought she was a human and then witnessed her blowing someone's brains up.
Yeah.
Kind of traumatic.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And then of course him like kind of lying to Starlight, although he's actually very honest with her for the majority of the time. But when he starts using Temp V, that's when everything kind of gets kicked up a notch, when you see like his personality become a bit more, I guess, toxic, where he's just like he's just angrier. He's a little bit like he's
more bitter.
Yeah, he's bitter. You see him like not really even caring as much when like Kimiko is like super hurt, and he's just like kind of like all blissed out like on the Temp V and everything.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, and like it's and then of course him and Starlight not to blows, but they come to like, you know, a confrontation when she's like basically like, this is gonna kill you, this is too dangerous, don't do this, don't help Soldier Boy or whatever, which honestly bugged me a bit.
That she didn't want to help Soldier Boy?
The fact that she was like they're like, Soldier Boy's our best chance, and at this point in the show it's like, yeah, he is, like, what else are you guys gonna do here? You know, like, I know he's like, you know, another piece of shit, but like realistically, what else you got? Like, I don't know. And so I was like, I'm kind of on Team Huey here a little bit. But the downside, of course, is like he's also telling her like, oh, she just has to put up with a bunch of VOTS bullshit.
Yeah, she just has to pretend to be Homelander's lover on camera and be held by him and kissed by him and tortured by him, emotionally abused by him.
Yes, that part is awful.
Yeah, subject yourself to that so that I can go feel like a hero.
Yeah.
Because usually you're the hero and I'm just dealing, knee high or knee deep in BS. Okay, Huey, we see you.
But yeah, eventually he, at the end, decides like, okay, you know what? He's still going to try to help Butcher, because Butcher, he's the only person who still has faith in Butcher at the end.
It's honestly so sweet.
Yeah. And because he's like he's the only part that sees the little bit of light that's left in him, and then he apologizes and makes up with Starlight because he's like, okay, you know what, I messed up. And then he does a thing of like, he could have maybe taken Temp V or something to go out to help, but he's like, no, I'm going to support her, and basically helps her power up by like, putting all the extra juice and all the lights and everything, making her stronger. And she eventually flies, which is great.
Fight as a team. What did you think about his little like monologue in the car, the pizza rolls one?
Yeah. Which was that? I forget.
He's like, you ever have pizza rolls?
Oh,
yeah. After my mom left, my dad would just buy tons of pizza rolls. I thought he was weak. I didn't know what strength is. Yeah. What did you think?
No, I thought that was really nice. I think that was like a sweet nod because it's like, yeah, his dad has been shown to like, like I think how I say it? It's like he's been dealing with like what his idea of like strength and like what a hero is, or what someone like who can actually deal with power. He sees someone like Butcher and he's like, yeah, that's what I should be doing essentially. He tries to be like that, but
being
his dad
proactive.
Yeah, but his dad just showed a completely different kind of strength, having to raise a kid by yourself and dealing with the fallout of that. And it's like, yeah, that there's different kinds of heroes and different forms of strength out there, which kind of I think fits in with Mother's Milk.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
So you want to move to Mother's Milk?
Yes. Is there anything? Yeah.
No, I think that's pretty much.
I was thinking we could move into like the senator lady just really quick because I feel like there's not tons of stuff to say about her.
No, yeah, let's do Victoria Newman.
Is it Newman?
Yeah. Victoria Newman. We get there's more of like follow up with what we see at the season 2 finale, where she is the soup who's able to like blow up people's heads and everything.
Popping heads.
Yeah. It turns out that she is what is it, like Stan? Oh crap, what's his name? Stan Edgar's daughter, like adopted daughter. Yeah. And she's the one who's been basically like killing people for him. And
yes.
She
not
eventually,
so cash money of you, Newman.
Yeah, she gets confronted by Homelander. She decides to pick more of like her own team, really, instead of like Homelander. She kind of turns in Stan, and then
she turns him in.
Yeah.
Like, not only does this season reveal that is her father figure, but then she totally turns him in. Yeah. So it's just like, okay, she's not any better.
I do like Stan Edgar's response though, where he's like, nah, he's like, I'm proud of her, honestly. He's like, I trained her to play all sides and basically to be ruthless, and that's exactly what she did. So
exactly
good for
what
her.
She did.
And it's like,
she's
that's
like him.
Kind of cool.
She's like him, but worse, because she's not only like working for Vought and like super powerful that way, but she's also in politics, super powerful that way, and she can pop people's heads.
Yeah, and Stan Edgar is not a good person either. Like, they're all terrible in their own way, which is also what's great about the show, is that everyone, it's like, it's, the lesser of two evils is really the running theme throughout season 3.
Everybody sucks.
Yeah, it's like everyone's terrible. How can we possibly do the least amount of terrible things to do something good? Like, that's like kind of it. Yeah.
A friend recently asked me if I would rather watch The Umbrella Academy nonstop or The Boys nonstop, and I had to pick The Umbrella Academy because The Boys is amazing, but it does kind of make you just feel like people suck.
Yeah, it's very cynical. So yeah, let's move on to, let's do Mother's Milk.
Yeah,
so,
Mother's Milk.
He has a great arc, I think, too, this season. I think more than even what they did with him in season 2. In season 2, we got a little bit into his backstory. This one, we really kind of focus in on him more.
In the present.
Yeah, his relationship with his daughter. We find out the true story of what happened with Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy murdered his grandfather and his sibling,
like,
I think.
Whole family, I think. Didn't he
like
throw
half
a
his
car
family.
Into the house and everybody was screwed?
Yeah. And he basically triggers this like PTSD kind of moment for him every time he, like, as soon as he starts hearing about him and seeing him again, he's like starts really freaking out.
OCD starts acting up too.
Yeah.
It's just
and
really unwell.
And his whole thing is he's trying to hide it from his daughter because he just wants to project strength. He's like, this is what it means to be strong, is basically to not show any form of weakness.
Hello, overall themes.
Yeah. And in the end, he decides, like, because Butcher gives him, like, I think a decent deal where he's like, listen, we can use this Temp V stuff and you can possibly have, like, insane powers to, like, take down Soldier Boy or Homelander or what else, right? And then he's like, no. He refuses to cross that line. He's like, we have to draw a line someplace.
We have to make sure that we're the good guys.
Yeah, exactly. Which is totally fair because Butcher is definitely that character who's like, he says himself, he's like, I got no time. Like, I don't have time for that shit. Like, I can't draw like lines. I can't try to be a good person when it's just nothing but bullshit out there. So he's
whatever
like, no.
it takes.
Yeah, whatever it takes. And Mother's Milk is like, no, we can't do that. He's like, maybe willing. His whole thing is like, we just got to kill Soldier Boy. That's it. And he refuses to compromise, and that's great. Honestly, I think that's like
that's
again,
endearing.
Yeah, it's very strong. Which is kind of ironic because in the comic books, in case you don't know, people listening, Mother's Milk is one of the few characters. He's one of the few of the boys who starts off super powered. He has like super strength and invulnerability. Like he's even stronger than I think Homelander, just in terms of like physical strength. And he gets it from his mom. It's a whole very gross,
very
origin
graphic
story. But,
if you want to look that up.
Yeah, go ahead, look it up. But it's kind of funny that he's like one of the only boys who ends up not getting powers, at least thus far. Maybe he will in the future. We'll see. But I'm fine with him not.
Yeah,
at this point.
I think that it really builds more about like his character and the type of person he is.
And then we get to see him with his daughter and her dealing and him like dealing basically going head to head with his the stepfather
and co-parenting struggles.
Yeah, where he's like, I think she should learn more about Homelander. I think Homelander's saying good shit, even though he's like,
we love Homelander in this household.
Yeah, he's like, he's a true hero. He's a real American. He's a patriot. He's like going the full far right stuff where he's just just really kind of crazy. And he's like all on board with Homelander being a psycho, because even at the end he has that big moment where Homelander just kills a civilian straight up in front of everybody, and then he's like, yeah, he's all for it. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah,
I think that's a great contrast. I mean, obviously they did it on purpose, right? There's no way they didn't, but like a great contrast with Mother's Milk, because Mother's Milk is very strong, and he's like figuring out like how to, despite his weaknesses, again show his daughter what strength looks like. And then with this with the stepdad, do you know the stepdad's name?
I don't remember off the top of my
I want to
head.
say it's something like Josh, but I feel like that's just my brain.
Seems like a Josh.
But anyways, so like the stepdad probably feels a little bit, I mean, there's got to be like some kind of competition with the two of them, right? They're butting heads.
Todd. His name's Todd.
Todd. They're both 4 letters. Todd with 2 D's?
Yeah.
They're both 4 letters. So emulating strength and stuff, like he can't beat up Mother's Milk.
No.
Mother's Milk decks him. He's out. Like he's on the floor, like with one punch. So like seeing Homelander and the type of strength that Homelander portrays and how he can protect his children, like just with laser beams, like no wonder he idolizes him.
Yeah. Exactly. He feasts off people's insecurities and everything else. He's like, I'm the guy who's going to be protecting you. And you want to be, it's hard not to want to be on the side of the most powerful being on the planet, you know, especially when that person is insisting that they're trying to protect you and do good. So it's like,
you're the true patriots.
Yeah. You see the mental gymnastics. He's really kind of like putting everyone else through. Like he's trying to manipulate the hell out of these people. How they still support him, even though everything they see is,
a disaster.
It's a disaster, but whatever. So then we get to see, honestly, and then Frenchie has one of my favorite scenes too, where he has a heart-to-heart with MM, where, MM confesses, like, I fucked up. My daughter's seeing me, like, break down everything. And then he's like, listen, man. He's like, you're a effed up individual. You're just as messed up as all of us. We're all dealing with all kinds of crap and trying to compensate for it. He says, but you're also simultaneously the best of us, like, for sure. Like, you're actually a very good person, and you try really hard to do that. And the fact that you're able to do that while also dealing with this mountain of BS is just that much more impressive. He's like, so that's why you have to show that to your daughter too. And it's, again, similar to what Huey deals with, that theme of where it's like a different kind of strength that he has to show his daughter. And then he does, and his daughter respects him for it, and she loves him, and like, that's great. Yeah. So Going through the the boys here, we're gonna do 2 at a time right now. Frenchie and Kimiko.
Frenchie and Kimiko.
Both of them.
Oh, but Kimiko's got so much to unpack, and so does Frenchie. Okay,
I
fine.
mean, they both do,
Go.
but they're very intertwined, so I think we can do both
course.
of them. So Frenchie is dealing with basically some of the ghosts of his past, and Kimiko the same, as she's also
As usual.
Yeah, as usual. She's dealing with the loss of her brother. She's dealing with her like hating her superpowers because she thinks is what makes her a monster, and Frenchie just and so they both just want to leave. They just want to get out of this whole situation.
They're trying to run away from their problems.
Essentially, yeah. But they eventually come to the conclusion, like, no, we can't. Like,
We
can
can
actually,
actively be better by our own decision.
yeah,
Like, make our choices.
yeah. Kimiko kills a lot of people this season, as she usually does.
Oh my God. Hold on. Kimiko, was that this season? It was this season.
The dildo fight scene.
Oh, watch
Yeah.
my language. There's a whole dildo fight scene.
Yeah. She just kills a lot of dudes with superhero themed dildos.
She has a lot of like musical scenes. She has like
Yeah.
a song and everything.
Yeah. It's a song and dance number.
Song and dance number. She's definitely into like a lot of music and stuff, which is neat. I totally see what they're doing. Like, that's great. But the dildo scene stands out. It's just a head above the rest. There's action. It's comical. It's
Yeah.
pure badassery.
But again, she's like standing there seeing the horror of her actions, you know, really
Yes,
full force.
and seeing how women who she could have been friends with, women who are in similar situations, like victims, you know, being terrified of her. I think in that moment compares herself to them. And it's like, I'm nothing like these women.
But I think
I'm not like the other girls.
But I think it's great because her
Weird.
ultimate arc is essentially she realizes that it's not necessarily that she's doing terrible things, but she's doing them for the wrong reasons. She's like doing them. She's like, this, I'm not doing this because I want to, or because they like, I mean, maybe these people deserve it, but they're like, this is not what she wants. What she wants is to protect her family, Frenchie, the people she loves and cares about.
God, so
So
sweet.
she decides, like, you know, basically to get her powers back, because she loses them to Soldier Boy, but she get her powers back so that she can fight for the things that she actually cares about.
And you know what? Once she makes that decision, every fight scene, she's got a smile on her face.
Yeah, she has a smile on her face and
She's
she's
happy to
playing
do it.
music.
She's playing music. She's living her best life.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe The Boys is like, I don't know, something for us to model our lives after.
Said no one ever.
Be better people. Just be better.
And then meanwhile, Frenchie's also dealing with little Nina and the other French girl from season 1 and 2. I forget, like, his former drug dealing / doing friend who
/ doing friend. That's what we call him.
Yeah. And she eventually gets like captured by little Nina, and then he's like having to fight for her and everything. They both fight for her. They both almost die, and he freaks out because he's like scared that he can't protect Kimiko, especially if she's like depowered and everything. And that also leading Kimiko to her epiphany. And yeah, eventually he decides his big theme was that he just basically wants to stand up for himself. He wants to be.
He doesn't want to be everyone's errand boy. Because to save his friend, he was like basically doing errands for little Nina. And up until this point, he was just doing errands for Butcher.
Yeah. And then he was doing stuff for the CIA or whatever. Like, it's just, again, whoever's holding the leash.
It's like, I want to live my life for me.
So
Good for you, Frenchie.
He has this adorable moment where he stands up to Butcher and he's like, no!
We need health care.
Yeah, we need health care and a
vacation day.
Vacation days and dental. And he's like, okay. which is great, honestly. It's glad to see him come around.
I did love also, just since we're on Frenchie and Kimiko.
Yeah.
Their little romantic scene.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's very sweet.
It was so sweet. And then and then ruined. Thanks a lot, little Nina.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to, I don't know, before we finish up The Boys, let's hop around to someone like The Deep. The Deep. Him dealing with his wife / manager, who's like
brainwasher.
Yeah, who he met through the cult. They escaped, and then she starts basically just manipulating him and makes him into a mouthpiece, essentially.
Yeah, but I mean, this is gonna sound bad, but at that time, their goals were the same.
Yeah,
Kiss up to Homelander, be an important part of the 7, just be hero. You know,
Yeah.
just be a big deal. And
Yeah.
there's that. Not saying that it's okay. It's
No.
terrible. I feel so bad for the Deep.
I feel bad for him, but again, he's a lot like A-Train, where it's like he's had chances to redeem himself, but he seems like one of those people who just kind of he lacks the tools to actually improve himself. Like he doesn't know how to actually be a better person, so he just kind of does what people tell him to do. He's like, this is what you have to do, and he's like, okay.
Of course, he's the one that gets sucked into a cult.
Yeah, he's like, unfortunately, yeah, exactly. He's like the perfect person that ends up in a cult because he's lost. He doesn't know what to do. He gets sucked into a cult where everyone's telling him like, hey, it's okay for whatever it is you're doing. We're going to put you on the right path. And it's not the cult, then it's his wife. It's not his wife. It's Homelander. It's just whoever else is basically just giving him a purpose and telling him essentially what to do. He's like a dark version of Frenchie in a way, you know?
Not just giving him a purpose.
Darker version.
Darker. Yeah, Frenchie's dark. Not just giving him a purpose, but also like accepting him and liking him. I think especially with that last scene when oh my god, when his ex-wife now is like interviewing and they're like, she's like, I think if you knew the real Kevin, you wouldn't like him. And he like starts crying.
Yeah.
Like really, he's such a people pleaser. You
Yeah.
know, he joins the cult because they're nice to him. They offer him frescas. They make him feel accepted. But the thing is, he's so weird. He just has sex with an octopus.
Yeah.
Dude, the scene where he had to eat Timothy.
Oh man, yeah, that was really brutal. It was really one of the most brutal scenes in the show again, where it's like he's eating a live octopus. Which even if you can't talk to fish, that's just so fucked up. Just in general,
I feel bad eating a dead one.
Yeah, they're very intelligent. They're pretty much sentient beings. Don't do it. So him having to force to eat one that he can communicate and hear, as it's like basically like pleading with him not to eat him. He was his friend.
He was praying.
He probably had sex with it at some point, let's be honest. He was just like, oh God, it's so bad. It's horrible.
It's really tragic, but he did it because he wanted Homelander's acceptance.
Yeah, I think it was that, and also I think he's scared too.
Yeah,
right?
no, totally.
It's like his wife and Homelander are egging him on. They're like, do this.
Just do it.
Yeah, just shut up and do it. And he's like, okay.
Doesn't stand up for the people he loves. Well, the fish that he loves.
Yeah,
well,
essentially. It's like him, Starlight, Frenchie, Kimiko, kind of similar things. They're just all like, basically subordinate, and they can't stand up for themselves. Oh, even Noir.
Stand up for what they believe in.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's eventually ends up murdering a senator for Homelander because he's, again, got no real backbone. But all right, let's move on to somebody else here.
Please hold.
Please hold as I sort through this.
Have a clue. TV review.
Let's go. Let's do Noir. We mentioned Noir.
You mentioned Noir. Lay it on me. Let's go.
Wow. Who would have thought that Noir
is it adorable?
Yeah, adorable and just heart-wrenching character. Like he seems like a guy who is actually trying to help people maybe at some point, even though when he was on Payback back in the day, we see the flashbacks of him. He wanted to be a hero. He wanted to be like out there. He wanted people to see his face. And just the fact that he was black held him back. They're just like, nope, sorry, we can't have black superheroes right now. They're not popular. But ninjas are, so you're just going to basically cover your face.
Be a ninja.
Be a ninja. Shut up. That's it. And he's just like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then, of course, Stan like strong arms him into doing it. And like when they first show that first flashback where he eventually is all burnt and like his brain's all bashed in, I thought Stan had something to do with it. I was like, ooh, maybe he did something. He somehow rigged it in a way where he was able to like then force him to have to wear the mask. And
that's
else.
So dark.
Yeah. I mean, the actual reality was pretty dark too, though. Yeah. Of course, but like it was, but still, it's so he eventually we see the origin really of why he constantly wears a mask, why he doesn't talk, and that's because he was beaten to shit by Soldier Boy, who beat the heck out of him, burnt his face, and then like crushed his skull.
His whole skull.
Yeah,
he's all exposed.
In like again, one of the most interesting and fun ways that the boys have done it, which is like through animated like animals that are like basically acting things out because he's not.
Imagine Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, essentially, he goes to like his happy place because he's scared when Soldier Boy comes back because he was part. He led the team into betraying Soldier Boy. So he decides like, oh shit, like so he basically is scared, very scared, and understandably so because after what happened last time. But they showed this, and they showed another flashback even before then where he tried standing up to Soldier Boy, and Soldier Boy just beat the heck out of him in front of everybody else.
Okay, first of all, the way they did that, it was a reenactment from the Cute Little Animals.
Yeah.
If you recall. How did they even put on that show? I mean, obviously because they're in his brain, right? They're imaginary.
Yeah.
But holy cow, it was graphic.
Yeah.
It really committed.
Yeah, I'm sure whoever got to animate that had a good time. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, no.
But yeah, super brutal. And we get to see him, and it's like, okay, now like Black Noir is not just that silent, deadly character, you know.
A person.
He's an actual person. He's a character.
Actual person.
They show he has feelings.
A sympathetic person.
We got flashes of that in, was it season 2 when they leaked the footage? They leaked the news, the fact that like all the children with superpowers were actually secretly drugged as like babies or kids.
Yeah.
And that's how they got their powers and stuff. And they showed like Black Noir like crying in the hallway.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, now it
his
feels
life could have been so different.
Exactly. Now it's even sadder. It's like, oh dude.
They took his face, they took his voice. He's really just a cog in the machine.
Yeah.
He's such a tragic character. Okay, you voiced a theory to me, but didn't give me all the details.
Oh, okay. So eventually it leads to Black Noir again standing up for himself and decides to face Soldier Boy head on
with Homelander.
With Homelander. So he returns to
like,
Homelander.
I'll fight with you.
Essentially apologizes and like, hey man, we gotta fight him together. And Homelander, who sees Black Noir as really his only friend, confronts him as well and is like, okay, well, did you know about this? He says yes. And Homelander straight up murders him right then and there.
He pulls out his insides, and then you have the nerve to tell me after he's lying there with his insides outside of his insides.
Yeah.
What is it you told me?
I think he's still alive.
He thinks that he's still alive.
My theory is, okay, so again, we've seen Soldier Boy, we've seen what's his face? Black Noir deal with like ridiculous amount of punishment. He was attacked by, Kimiko and everything in the first season. We see him like deal with the peanuts because he's allergic to peanuts. In like I think season 2, I want to say. We see him get like his face fried and his skull crushed in by Soldier Boy, and he still managed to survive. So my theory is that his power, because we don't really know what his true power is. We just see that he has like he's very strong. He probably has like speed and like strength and maybe a form of invulnerability.
Oh God. Hold. We're gonna have to edit this out.
But the point is, I think that Noir can seemingly, I think his actual power is like basically not being able to die. It's kind of like when people ask like, oh, what kind of superpower you want? People are like, oh, immortality. But there's like that kind of immortality where it's like you can't die technically, but you can still like age or you can still get hurt, but you just won't die. I think that's kind of what Noir has. Maybe that's what they're going for, or that maybe they will go for. I don't know, because I feel like he could still be alive, but just more fucked up than ever. Like maybe Stan Edgar or whoever else at VOT will take him, kind of like patch him up. Like I don't know if anyone here has seen, or if you've listened to, or if you've watched Invincible, but there's a character called the Immortal, and his thing is that he can't die. He's the Immortal, so they just like patch him up together every time like he quote unquote dies, and then he kind of comes back to life. So I think that's something they'll do with Noir, except a more effed up version of it, where it's like he can still technically be alive, but he'll just
Frankensteining it.
Yeah, basically, yeah, like Robert Strong from like Game of Thrones.
Oh God.
Yeah, like where he'll still be alive, but maybe he'll be have even less mental capacities than he did before. So like essentially, I forget what his real name is, but like
Irving,
yeah. Irving might be like dead, like basically that character is like gone. but now we just have this like hollow shell of noir that is going to be around and even be more of just like a straight up puppet. And then I think I can get more into that when we get to like season 4 speculations, but I think that's what I got right now for noir.
First of all, that is so tragic. I think I'm going to cry.
It's very tragic, honestly. I feel like it's why it might fit for the show, but who knows?
I'm willing to entertain the idea because there is a moment after Homelander pulls out the insides, right? Yeah. Where Noir is lying down, his little animal friends are surrounding him. They're like, hey, it's okay. You can finally join Christ the Lord. Yeah. And then you see the reflection of, what is it, like a beaver?
Yeah.
The little beaver. And at first, upon watching it the first time, I thought it faded away as representing his life leaving his body.
Yeah.
But the beaver slowly backs away.
Yeah.
And doesn't fade. So it is possible that he's still in there.
Yeah.
But my issue is that if that is his superpower, wouldn't Homelander know that?
Yeah, maybe.
So him declaring him as dead, I mean, I feel like he would know whether or not he's actually dead.
That's fair, but I feel like maybe that'll just be one of those like kind of minor plot holes.
Maybe he said that to scare A-Train and the Deep and Ashley.
Yeah, I think that's also a possibility too.
Power move.
Yeah, essentially, he's like, "Hey, I killed Noir."
All right.
Basically, whoever's like the third strongest on the 7, I killed him.
The baddest dude on the block.
Yeah.
Okay.
Done.
All right. So I'll entertain the idea. I'm open-minded, but also that would break my heart.
So then we also got Queen Maeve. Maeve, who also goes through a lot this season. She has a great scene where she basically kicks off the main plot of the show, where she goes to Butcher and she's like, "Hey, something killed Soldier Boy allegedly back in the 80s. You need to figure out what that is. Then
that's gonna kill Homelander.
Maybe we got a shot at killing Homelander, because other than Butcher, probably no other character wants to kill Homelander more than Maeve. That is her, like, pretty much her single goal besides killing Homelander and then herself. Tragically, that's like the big thing, is that she just wants to die. She doesn't mind if she dies trying to kill Homelander. She just wants to make sure she at least kills him.
Super emo, because she can't have the life that she wants. Living with her girlfriend and being normal and having a regular life. She has to deal with all of her actions.
Lesbian Queen Maeve.
All of her actions while working with the 7. And that's a huge weight on any person.
And even that like twisted love scene where like Butcher just declares like, "You guys all have to die. You have to die. We all, like, all you superhero like cunts." He's like, "You all need to end up dead."
And she's like, "Finally, someone gets it. I do
like,
need to die."
Hell yeah. And then they do.
And then they get it on.
Which was, I think, it was great. It was like, yeah, of course these characters would get along.
Long episode, guys.
So then she has her, and then she has her big moment at the end where eventually she like flips sides in the finale, where she's like, "Okay, yeah, let's go stop Soldier Boy," essentially. But then she's like, "No, you know what? Killing Homelander is more important." So she switches to that side.
I think that stopping Soldier Boy was more of like a let me see what's going on, because that's the only thing that can kill Homelander.
Yeah. Homelander and Noir capture her. They hold her hostage, and Homelander has his most... Well, one of his most fucked up moments where he's like basically like, "I'm just going to harvest your eggs so that we can have like a super strong child," which is like terrifying, but also like it's been like it's like kind of a superhero. That's been like a DC trope a little bit of like, you know, of Superman and oh my God, Wonder Woman. Like
they're basically those characters.
Yeah, they're those characters. What happens if they fall in love? What happens if they have a kid to be like the most powerful kid like ever? Read Kingdom Come. But yeah, so then it's like that's a very messed up thing, and she ends up breaking out because Starlight has like her
free Maeve, hashtag free Maeve.
Yeah, hashtag free Maeve, gives her a chance. She breaks out. She goes to help. And then she eventually is just like, "Yeah, I'm just here to kill Homelander." Essentially, she's like, "That's my whole thing."
There's so much more. Like from the beginning, she was her whole thing is eyes on killing Homelander. She's pretending to be drunk. She's pretending to be sloppy. She's pretending she's not training. But every day she's training. She's getting ready to take him on whatever it takes. You know?
And it leads to a very satisfying scene where you see her finally taking on Homelander.
And he doesn't think that he doesn't know she's been training. He's like, Maeve, like, you're being ridiculous right now. Like, stop. Which also... Dude, when she like starts trying to fight Homelander in the end, and he's like, Maeve, we've got more important things.
He's
and
just
she's
brushing
like,
her off.
Yeah, he's just brushing her off. But the way he talks to her though, like his tone and like the way he's addresses her compared to like other members of the Seven, you can tell he knows that she's like up there.
He does have like respect for her in his own twisted way. Again, like he has like a conversation with her before he ends up kidnapping her, where he's basically like, you know, like we understand each other more than anybody else. And I think that's like his big thing with Homelander. Not to jump the gun with him, but like how much he just wants, like being someone who's so like head and shoulders above everybody else. He's just looking for that like that other person that can like basically understand him in the same level, and that's where eventually he reaches out to Soldier Boy and then his son and everything else. He's just like he wants someone who can understand all the crap that he's gone through in his own
slowly on the
way.
top.
Exactly. So that's why it was like before anybody else, it was Queen Maeve. She kind of got it. They both got it. They were both, you know, the leaders of the Seven essentially, and she was the only person who was like as nearly as strong as he was. So they were together, you know, but again, her reality is like, no, not really. She's like, I hate you. Yeah, I've hated you for every second of it because you're a fucking monster.
Yeah, there's this in that final fight when she punches Homelander.
Yeah,
and he's like starts bleeding. You had to do something, and I paused it like right at that moment when she's like smiling at him.
Yeah,
it's the most satisfying thing in the world.
Yeah, it's super satisfying because again, you see all of the crap that he put her through before, and everything that they hint at for her to actually finally land some blows and draw some blood from him, which that might have been the first time we actually see that, because we see like in the during the HEROGASM episode when Huey, Soldier Boy, and Butcher fight him, they like bruise his face, which is like a big deal, but she actually draws blood.
Makes it bleed.
Yeah, and eventually she sticks like a pole through his ear, which was awesome.
Oh, God,
that was
horrifying.
So cool. I was like, dang, I really hope he's deaf in that ear, but I feel like he may be healed or something afterwards. I mean, it makes sense, but still, like that would have been awesome if he just like stayed deaf. But he also, again, he destroys her left eye by putting a thumb through it.
And now she can be a badass pirate.
Yeah. Now she can be a pirate.
Yeah. So her the way her whole thing ends. You want to get to that? Yes.
She essentially, Soldier Boy is gonna just kill everybody because he's just like, screw this,
including Ryan.
Yeah, including Ryan, including any of the innocents that were there, but mostly Ryan. And she decides like, no.
And Butcher.
Yeah, and she passes up her chance to like possibly kill Homelander in that moment and to be like a real hero and save everybody else, and jumps out the window with him and
sacrifices herself.
Dies. Yeah. I think she probably should have died, honestly.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm just saying. It felt like kind of like, man, that's so tragic. That's
when Soldier Boy exploded at HEROGASM, all the heroes were still like, they were beat up, but
some of them were fried.
Some of them were fried.
Yeah,
but I think those were just like human prostitutes, though.
It could have been.
Yeah, because like a lot of the superheroes survived. Or the supers, the soups.
A lot of them were also just like physically like fried. Like they were just like charred.
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything.
No, she was beat to heck.
Yeah, she was. But it's like, I guess it if anything, it shows how powerful she is. The fact that she was able to.
Beefy beefcake lady.
Yeah, she was able to like tank a hit essentially and survive falling from the building
and being exploded.
Yeah, so it's like
but it's like a huge deal because like immediately before the fight she tells Starlight no one's a hero. She believes it.
Yeah.
Life is bleak. She wants to die. She wants Homelander to die. And then it turns around and she
almost does the ultimate sacrifice. Yeah.
She decides to be a hero.
And then we get to see her with her girlfriend at the end. Everyone thinks she's dead. She's fine with it. Ashley sees it, and she decides to just bury it.
Delete the fact that she's alive.
Yeah.
I think because when Ashley and the Deep were moving her, transporting Maeve, did she mouth like, I'm sorry to Maeve?
I don't know if she did, but she definitely looked horrified at what was happening. Like she
seemed sympathetic.
Yeah, like Ashley, really quick, just to touch on her. I really like what they've done with her too, where she's like, you see her slowly kind of like, if really from the beginning, she's just been horrified at like Homelander's actions and everything, but she's been kind of going with it.
Power
she's
hungry.
Going on this. Yeah, she's super power hungry, but she's also terrified. And
like disintegrating.
Yeah. She's literally just like kind of falling apart as all this is happening. The stress is just eating her away. And she does almost have like a moment when like Starlight is trying to give her out. She's like, you can do this. We can like basically fight against them. And then she's just like, no, get the fuck out of here. Like she's just like she can't.
I'm the boss.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what to do.
But it's like, honestly, she's just scared and insecure. And who wouldn't be?
Yeah,
really?
Homelander could probably hear that entire conversation. She doesn't have superpowers.
Yeah.
Being a powerful headed bot, like, that's what she's got.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And they've already taken out 2 heads of Vought. So one of them, Homelander just straight up murdered, and the other one is like in prison.
Hello,
whatever.
chopping block. Guess who's next?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now let's get into like the final big characters here. Butcher, Homelander, and Soldier Boy. Let's start off with, whoa, what do you want to do?
I don't think you really touch Starlight. I don't know if we have to.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess we kind of like, she kind of intertwined with
Huey.
Everybody else. Yeah, with Huey and like a lot of the other characters.
Starlight's are brown. She's golden.
Yeah,
okay.
She's great.
Continue.
Not her best season, I'd say. I think she had like a better season 2 and like season 1, honestly.
I think she's definitely the most grounded character.
Yeah.
You know, like she's wearing regular clothes most of the time. She's like, what can we do realistically?
Yeah, she was definitely like the, you know, no pun intended, but she's like the beacon of light. She's like the person who is like trying to, yeah, the pun wasn't intended, I swear.
Okay. I'm pretty sure, even though you didn't intend that, we know the writers did. So.
But like she's the person who is like actually trying to, you know, try to do this as like the best way morally possible.
Supersonic.
Yeah. Oh God. And yeah, and she ends up inadvertently getting supersonic just butchered. But yeah, speaking of Butcher goes through a lot this season. He's just from starting off where he's checking in on Ryan, he's trying to make sure he's okay, trying to basically act like a father figure to him, keeping his promise to Becca.
That big old softy.
Yeah. But as he starts taking the temporary V, as he just like starts becoming like, you know, it's just, they show how it like it pulls out your worst. It makes whatever you are, it enhances it by like, you know, however much.
The good and the bad, more notably.
Yeah. So someone like Butcher makes him harsher, crueler, angrier, and just brutal. And we get to see that the main downside of it is he kind of turns on Ryan. He has one of those "get out of here, you stupid dumb animal" moment. Yeah, where he's freaking out. He's coming down from the V. He's not doing well, and then Ryan is like, "Wait, don't go. Like, wait, are you angry at me?" And he's just basically like, "Get the fuck out of here. Like, I can't even want to look at you.
You stupid dumb animal."
Yeah, he's like, you killed my Becca," and you know, just saying all of the worst things to this kid who it's
but
like
kind
hey,
of to protect him as well. Make sure he stays in hiding, doesn't grow too attached. But I mean, Homelander does the exact opposite, and now Ryan's in the grasps of evil and has the worst possible influence.
Exactly. And we get to see more of his love for Huey, honestly.
Yeah, his love for Huey, his love for his brother.
Yeah.
He definitely with
Lenny,
the episode. Yeah, Lenny. Oh God, Lenny and Huey just sound so much alike.
I think it's
too.
Mindstorm. The
Mindstorm.
Yeah, goes into his mind.
Yeah, he traps him in a nightmare. Yeah. If you recall. And Butcher's nightmare is abandoning his brother and leaving him to deal with their dad, who's a total jerk.
Total jerk. John Noble is a beast.
That guy sucks.
Yeah. It's like, it's horrible. So you kind of he gets that like contemplation again where he's just like dealing with it and trying to figure out how to
not do wrong this time with his little brother figure.
He's forced to kind of really view how much he's just turning into his father, and that's like the last thing he ever wanted. So he steps up and decides like, no, I'm not going to put Huey through this and possibly get him killed for the Compound V. But he's more than willing to die himself because, again, that's his big thing. He's like, I don't give a shit if I live or die.
As long as Homelander goes down with me.
Exactly, yeah. And we skipped over this a little bit, but like I think it's episode 1. One of my favorite scenes in the whole show is the conversation between Butcher and Homelander when they're both just sitting at the table and just talking to each other. And then he's just like, basically just talking to man. He's just like, hey, he's like, we're destined for like, you know, some really grimy, dirty, fucked up shit. We're both going to die, blood and bone, you know, scorched earth kind of thing, which was great, honestly.
Yeah,
Very
and they
powerful.
reference back to it, and it's just like, ooh.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's like, me and you. Like, it's like, again, kind of like noir, like how much Homelander is looking for a kindred spirit, you know, someone else who really understands him, and there's different aspects of that. And Butcher most definitely embodies the brutality and anger and frustration of Homelander. He's like, this guy gets it, man. This guy gets this, like, this bloodthirsty rage that just comes over you. And so in a weird way, they're kind of friends in that sense. Not, I guess I wouldn't say friends, but they understand each other.
So they lasered a guy at the same time once,
Yeah.
and then acknowledged it. That does not make them friends.
No, they are contemporaries.
Not exactly what Magneto and Professor X here.
No. Still probably more Sabretooth and Wolverine, let's be honest.
Good comparison.
So, which again, I really like that they gave Butcher laser eyes, which was like, because in the comics, again, they like he just has like strength and invulnerability. Boo, that's boring. But in this, they actually give him, like, they give the boys like different kinds of superpowers. Huey gets teleportation, Butcher gets laser vision. It's awesome. And I was like, ooh, now that they hinted at it and during the advertisements and everything, that you got to see them lock laser beams.
Oh my God, it was the most satisfying thing seeing them going laser to laser at HEROGASM.
That was a HEROGASM. Yeah, and like when they're punching each other, and you see like Butcher like seemingly kind of like purposely like just tanking a bunch of like Homelander's hits, and he's just like grinning like, yeah, that's right, bitch, like I can take your hits now. And then just like they start fighting together. Tough. So great.
God, I want that to be a poster.
And then eventually the big moment where Ryan gets almost gets killed by Soldier Boy, and he decides like, no, I do have to draw a line somewhere, and this is it. Like we can't do this.
We can't let the boy die.
Yeah, so he decides to protect him, which he may regret in the future, but as of right now, he decides no. He made a promise, and he's sticking to it, and it's like, yay, good for Butcher.
Yeah, but now he's stuck fighting Soldier Boy.
Yeah, he kicks his ass really, and he's got help from Starlight and who else?
Kimiko,
Mother's
Milk.
Milk. Kimiko eventually shows up, but yeah, like he's getting his ass kicked. But yeah, I think it's kind of a good segue into Homelander and Soldier Boy. Their dynamic. Soldier Boy is the new wild card this season. He's the guy who he turns out he didn't die. He was actually just kidnapped by the Russians. He was betrayed by Vought and Payback, and he becomes like they just experiment on him for I think like 3 or 4 decades. And which is a long time for them to just do whatever the hell they did to him. Eventually makes him basically a walking bomb, and also able to depower anybody. So they're like, this is the dude that can finally take down Homelander. But turns out he's also an unstable asshole.
He's also exactly what you would expect.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's officially my favorite. Like, because there's a lot of different dark like twisted versions of Superman out there. There's Omni-Man, there's like Injustice Superman.
Been done.
There's a bunch. Brightburn, whatever. There's a bunch. Homelander is definitely top tier of those. But Soldier Boy is by far the best dark version of Captain America that I've seen.
Agreed.
So good. It's like the like a lot of the running jokes that people had when they're like, Cap was a dude that was frozen in like the 30s. Waking up today in 2020, that dude would so be like racist and homophobic and sexist and whatever.
Check.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, seems like, 9 times out of 10, this is probably the guy you're gonna get if you just open him up from like, he lived through, he lived through the Depression, and then you just pop him into 2020. He's probably gonna be a real piece of shit.
Did you mention alcoholic?
Yeah, he's an alcoholic. His dad was neglective, like emotionally abusive. It's like, yeah, it's it's a he's a plethora of all kinds of toxic traits, and yeah, it makes total sense.
This is The Boys, after all.
Jensen Ackles, who reunites with show creator, oh crap, what's his name?
Hold on. Woo, 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 woo. Heck yeah. Sorry, so cool. His voice is just such a like, oh my gosh. I know he's done voice acting, and for good reason, because even watching this now, like sometimes I was like, dang, that's Soldier Boy.
Yeah, he was perfectly cast for this. Reuniting with Eric Cartwright, who is the showrunner, and he also created what's it called? Supernatural, which was great. A little wink to Supernatural fans, big fan, seasons 1 through 5. Don't watch anything else past that.
Supernatural.
Yeah, which also I didn't realize till this season that the guy who plays Bobby in Supernatural
is Bobby.
His name is Bobby Singer, and in this show, he's his senator. His name is Robert Singer, which is great, and they call him like Bob or Dakota Bob or whatever. And it's like, hey, it's Bobby. Like I was hoping that they would have like a scene together, just because I thought that'd be funny. Jim Beaver.
Also, really disappointed there wasn't more of him, but also it's fine because I love Bobby.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe Supernatural.
Maybe Jared Padalecki will show up next season or something as
some
perverted superhero. I think that'd be hilarious.
Dare. He would be so phenomenal after. Oh man,
he looks like a superhero as well.
He looks like a super. He's built like a superhero. He's giant, and then on top of that, he's already had experience in Supernatural being a good bad guy, a bad good guy.
Yeah.
He's perfect for this world. He has experience.
I would love if like, in Supernatural, like he had his demon blood abilities where you could like push and like, fight demons and pull them out. And like he basically was kind of like a telekinetic, but only for like demons and stuff.
Yes.
If he was like telekinetic in this show, but like the really weak, like dinky version, and also he's just like he sucks at his powers or something. Like he's like the demon fighter or some joke like that. I think would be really funny. I feel like there's a lot of potential there.
Funny,
but turns out he's like a coward or something. Like whatever.
You no longer have my vote for the writing room.
Yeah. So Soldier Boy shows up. He's great, and the big twist was when we find out that he's Homelander's. He's a daddy.
What?
Homelander's his baby boy.
It's your baby boy. Is that Adam Sandler?
Yeah. It's Big Daddy. So I think, yeah, it was great. Like we get to see that twist, and it's like, it really throws you out of left field. I felt so silly when I watched it, because I was like, oh, it's not gonna be crazy. Like, I don't know. I didn't see it coming.
Not see that coming.
Yeah. And then once it happened, I was like, how did I not see that coming?
I feel like
so
such
silly.
A fool.
Yeah. I was like, makes too much sense.
The numbers add up. The signs are all there. If you were smarter than us and saw this coming, like, I don't know, man.
I think many people were.
How did I not, like, oh God, I was genuinely shocked.
Yeah, so was I. I was like, oh,
I'm embarrassed.
Shit. And again, it added that great tension of like, is he going to work with Homelander now? Like, because what's scarier than just Homelander? It's like, oh, Homelander.
2 Homelanders.
Yeah, and Soldier Boy. Terrifying. But no, ultimately, like, there's that big tension leading up to the fight. And no, he decides basically to go his own father's route and just be like, no, you're just a
disappointment.
Here's a little pussy bitch or whatever he says to him.
Sniveling
little pussy. Like attention seeking, whatever, blah blah.
Yeah.
And he just he decides he's gonna kill Homelander, and he's like, yeah, I don't care if I kill a kid, who gives a shit? Which is again very much in line. And he eventually gets put back in his box and to be saved for, I'm assuming, the season 5.
Yeah, which makes sense, I think, because there are multiple Soldier Boys, right? Like in the comics.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess that adds up. If he comes back at some point for whatever reason, then he's welcome to.
I suppose. How do you mean? What do you mean?
Like if there's more Soldier Boy in future seasons, despite him being in a box.
You mean like the same like Soldier Boy, or like other versions?
Other versions, because I imagine I don't know. He was in the box and they were doing experiments on him. They probably made more of him, right? What would you do with that kind of asset?
I mean, I guess like
you want one really big weapon, or do you want a bunch of
they could have
super soldier weapons.
Yeah, maybe like I mean because they do show that like they have that one little gerbil thing that
Oh,
like
the super gerbil. I
Yeah.
forgot about the super gerbil. They were testing on animals. That's not okay.
yeah no yeah it's not so I guess potentially they could have been like basically reverse engineering Compound V and could have also potentially have made other super soldiers. We get like a Red Guardian kind of thing or something. Who knows? It's possible. I don't know if they'll do like the straight like other Soldier Boy route because I feel like in this world like for Vought like Soldier Boy is now like tainted. You know, before he was like, oh, this like legacy hero. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, this.
Well, they
I
took
guess,
down his statue.
Yeah. They're just like, oh, it turns out he was corrupted by the Soviets or whatever. That's like the cover. They're just like he was radicalized by them, and
It so would be.
yeah, which makes sense. But yeah, like I think what you're hinting at is in the comics, Soldier Boy is just like a title given to a few different characters throughout like the decades, who are all just terrible, of course, in their own way. But yeah, so that's
They all represent Soldier Boy.
yeah. There's different aspects of Soldier Boy. But no, like so this one is I think he's gone. I think Soldier Boy's gone.
He's in a box.
Yeah, for now, yeah.
For now.
He'll come back eventually. You can't like not use him again for something, right?
Me
And also
thinks
Jensen
yes.
Ackles, I love Jensen Ackles. Seeing him in this is great. I think he knocked it out of the park. Yeah.
I just want him to work
more. All right. So let's land this baby. Let's go with Homelander, the final hero, the final big character we're going to talk about here. And he has a hell of a season. Starting off, we're dealing with the repercussions of him losing his son, of him basically just kind of being taken down a notch at the end of the last season. He ended it with like an L. Stormfront is hospitalized and like just dead. He's just like trying to talk to her and not really listening. Well, I mean, she's saying like, "Oh yeah, like let's." She's like, "You have to lead the, a new, like perfect world, like a Third Reich, whatever." And he's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, while she's like jerking him off.
It's so uncomfortable.
She ends up killing herself, or maybe she was killed by Vought. Who knows? I think both are possible, honestly.
Both are possible.
But she ends up killing herself seemingly, which sends Homelander spiraling, and he's kind of just like never been like this angry or unstable.
No one. His son was taken from him. His weird woman lady
love
thing. Sorry.
The only woman who seemed to actually love him as much as he loves himself.
Yes. Whatever their relationship was.
Yeah.
She's gone. He's got no one.
Yeah. And that's when the boys figure out like to get Soldier Boy out. And when he figures out it's Soldier Boy, who was his hero growing up as a kid, who he idolized and wanted to be like, really showing that like he probably did want to be a hero when he was a kid. And it goes back to like, again, there's what I love about the show is, again, all the villains, all the terrible people have like real shades of gray to them. And as horrible as a person that Homelander is, his biggest, tragedy is the fact that he was completely stripped of having like a family or having like real
life.
Love or life or anything. It was all just taken away from him as he was just basically a product that was developed by Vought to be this, superhero, just completely manufactured.
He doesn't know how to deal with his human feelings, man, because he's never been treated like a human. And
his big thing, the big theme of this season and for just him in general, is he just wants like a family. He wants to be accepted. He wants to find that kindred spirit. So when he first hears about Soldier Boy, I like that. One, he's scared, but also he really wants him to like him.
Yeah. He's like hopeful.
Yeah. And when they have that first conversation, it's great because you can actually see that he's actually hurt when like Soldier Boy's first is like, "You look ridiculous," or like whatever. Is like,
that a cape?
Yeah, he's like, "Buddy, you think you're strong? Like you think you look strong? You're wearing a cape." And he's like, "Oh, come on, man!" Like it's like, be cool. And then he's essentially just like, he's like, "You're nothing but a cheap knockoff." And he's like, okay.
"Don't meet your heroes."
Yeah, essentially. And he's like, "All right, now I got to kill this guy." And even then, when he's like pleading with him to like, to be like a father to him and everything else, it's like you can tell he is actually very heartbroken when he denies him that. And one of the best and human, probably the most human we've ever seen Homelander thus far. One is when he's very scared and he's talking to himself in the mirror and he's like trying to pump himself up.
Oh my God, that was very well shot. Like the shots were very interesting too. Like with the mirror and then the room and like, so cool.
Really, all the actors in the show have like done phenomenal, but Anthony Starr just continues to knock it out of the park. He's really crushing it as Homelander. Again, bringing such like complex nuances to a character that could so easily just be like a mustache twirling villain, but it is a testament to the writing and to the performance by Anthony Starr. He's great.
Who seems like he's really a nice guy.
Yeah, he just seems like a normal dude. Although it's funny, in some interviews you can tell that he straight up said like, I like some of my favorite scenes are when like Homelander does really fucked up stuff. He's like I just kind of get a kick out of that because it's like this slight comedic tint to it, but it's also really like dark. So he's like the perfect guy to be Homelander, honestly.
Really great.
But yeah, there's that scene, and then of course we kind of touched on it earlier, but when Ryan is like, he's kind of lost without Butcher. He's just dealing with it. He's just, just a boy who's just trying to like figure things out, and he's struggling with the issues of like, being a superhuman who accidentally murdered his own mother. Like it's a lot
heavy.
It's very heavy. It's a lot of guilt, and Butcher's not providing that for him. I'm sure Mallory is like trying to in some way, but she's not exactly the most loving person either.
No.
So then Homelander shows up and basically, I think in a very honest way, like I think when he has a conversation with him, he's actually, I don't think he's straight up trying to manipulate him. I think he was actually having like a real heart to heart with him. He's
really
like,
coming to him as a father.
Yeah. He's like, listen, he's like, that wasn't your fault. Like, I'm not mad at you for that. I like, and then again, kindred spirit, he understands like no one will understand you like I do. I will always be there for you. I will always love you no matter what. Because I think more than anything else, that's what Homelander has always wanted to hear, is just someone who will accept him for who he is, as dark and twisted and as fucked up as he is. He just wants to be loved, and him now showing that love to his son, and his son accepting it because,
not getting it anywhere else.
Yeah, it's like it makes complete sense, and it was just a great scene. The way they shot it, wrote, performed. And I love that, like, even little things like the music that's playing in the background during that scene, like it's kind of like this little heartwarming theme that it gets like once Ryan hugs him, it becomes a little bit like it slows down a bit and becomes a little bit twisted. Just so you just like it creates this unnerving feeling. It's like
wait a second. Oh, this is sweet and it is wonderful, but at the same time, now we've got two superhuman. One of them, the stronger influence, is like really jacked up.
Yeah.
Tension is high.
And Ryan will probably be stronger than Homelander. We don't know for sure, but seems like he would be. And then like, it's just like if you cut that scene out and just like showed it to anybody else who's never seen The Boys, it's like, oh, what a sweet scene. This is like so nice. It's like, Superman talking to his son, and it's like, no, this is so much darker than how
this
it
is
feels.
really scary.
Yeah. Which again, like we see the big moment with him and Soldier Boy. Maeve, he fights Maeve, and then at the very end, when he has his followers that who are really behind him, because we forgot to mention, there's a scene where he, at his birthday, he just is fed up with everything and just basically comes out and starts speaking his truth, where he's just like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm just getting manipulated and everything. It's like part of that, again, understandable to an extent, is just people just pulling you around and trying to make you do what they want you to do. And kind of, you don't really have any agency over his life. He's never really had that.
Yeah.
So it's understandable to an extent. But unfortunately, the things that he wants to do is like murder people.
Yeah. And I think with this season especially, like he's going through a lot and he does crack, he does break, but then he realizes that a lot of the like boundaries that are set for him don't really exist.
Yeah.
Who put them there? Why are they there? And then as he's struggling so much and like actually dealing with like going up against formidable opponents.
Yeah.
And
the
like
first
the
time
stress
in his life,
of it all.
actually having to fight people.
Decked. People are, he's actually having to flex his powers and stuff. Like he's going through a lot and just openly unstable. And I think that combination of him not having like Vought's boundaries to keep him in place, and then now people cheering him on for his questionable behavior.
Yeah. mean, just
Next season's
blatant
gonna
murder.
be crazy.
Yeah, it's scary because it's like, again, the season 2 ended with him, like taking a big hit where he's just like, oh crap, he got a big dose of humble pie. And in this one he did too, but in a really effed up way. He like he rose up to it. Like he kind of stood up to it, and now he's dealing with he feels stronger than ever at this point because Soldier Boy is done. He's kind of out. I'm sure he'll find out what temporary V does to people, so he's probably going to figure out that Butcher can't take any more, and neither will the boys. So that's going to be a big deal. And now we're moving into speculation. So let's go really quick into speculation because this is a very long episode. This may be one of our longest episodes in a long time. Oh. So season 4 speculation. There's a few things that I think we can go here. We'll try to run through this quickly because, again, this is a very long episode. But I'll start off with Black Noir. I do think that he could possibly come back.
Right.
He'll be like maybe a zombie or something for Vought. And with them moving Senator Newman into the vice presidency at the end of this season, I feel like they could be going through the route. In the comics, there's this one of the storylines is Homelander eventually, him and the other superheroes do a coup of the American government, and they take over. But Homelander is then murdered by Black Noir, who in the comics is a completely different character. It turns out he's just a clone of Homelander that is under Vought's control, and they use him as like a failsafe, so he kills Homelander. So I feel like maybe now they could do something similar, where they bring back a Noir, but they pump him up with like V and whatever else because they don't care what it does to him like long term. They just want him like basically someone who can actually take out Homelander, and then I don't know, something like that, maybe like where it's like the Supes are taking over the government. That would be huge. And then also, maybe this is Vought's way of like fighting back in a sense, or like trying to go against Homelander. It could be very interesting.
That could be interesting. I mean, he does have, it seems like, the support to be, running the government.
Yeah, right. Like everyone is scared of him. If the people, his supporters are like basically fine with him doing anything, so why not at that point?
I accept that as a possibility.
So what we know from the creator is that Eric Kripke, or not the creator, but the showrunner, is that the next season will focus more on sons. This past season was focused on a lot of fathers and how they affected their children.
Daddy issues, granddaddy issues.
Lots of daddy issues. Mm-hmm. But now, like, sons, or at least children, and it's so Ryan, obviously being a big one. Now he'll basically be at Homelander's side, doing God knows what kind of stuff. Hopefully, oh God, it's going to be terrible. Probably. It's going to be really horrifying, I assume.
Brightburn 2.0.
Yeah, he's probably going to be coaching him into like just basically being a murderer, or just like doing whatever he wants, and who cares?
Or he'll change his ways and be a really good father.
I mean, that would be very compelling. Honestly, like it'd be very interesting to see him go that route of just trying to actually be like a supportive father. But again, I think he won't be able to help himself. Like it's Homelander's version of a supportive father, which is basically someone just telling him he can do whatever he wants because he is a superior being.
Let's raise a spoiled brat. We'll see. We'll
essentially.
See. I was kidding. There's no way.
Oh, so there's another big character in the comics called Tech Knight, who is basically like Batman meets Iron Man meets Blue Beetle. He's like this character who is like has like a mech suit. He's a wealthy genius billionaire guy who creates like a exoskeleton kind of thing and is able to fight crime that way. He doesn't have any actual powers, but he's formidable enough.
He's smart.
Yeah. So a character like that is maybe just in a completely different part of the country, stepping in or coming in for whatever reason to help to basically maybe go against Homelander, or maybe be like a tool for Homelander to use him something else. I don't know, but there's definitely...
Or maybe just, somehow swoops in and becomes relevant and Homelander sees him as a threat.
So that I think that's going to be the next big casting announcement, whoever that is.
Okay.
I don't know. I have no idea who could play that role. There's like really open to anybody. I don't know who else.
I mean...
We mentioned Jared Padalecki, but I don't think he would do that.
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Yeah. He could be very interesting. There's a lot they could do with that character, with how much they changed Soldier Boy from the comics
And Mother's Milk.
and Mother's Milk. Like they've changed so many things and really improved. Like they've just really gone beyond a lot of what the source material is. I feel like there's a lot of room for like growth and
Tweaking.
Yeah, and interest to like they could really have with a character like Tech Knight. That'd be awesome. So
Also for speculations, are you done with Tech Knight?
yeah.
Other speculations with Butcher being granted just a few months to live. Where do you think that's going to go?
Well, I think the showrunner said that basically Butcher is going to be more dangerous than ever. He's capable of almost anything, because if like you thought before he had like nothing to lose, like now he really has like a time limit. He could die at any moment, so who knows what he could do. He could just go beyond. And I think at this point, this season, we saw him like he had that line he wasn't willing to cross. But if you make Ryan now
a bad guy,
danger, like a bad guy,
sorry,
I still feel like
threat.
he could try to. I think he's still going to try to save him at some point.
Yeah. Kid's got a chance.
Yeah, so I think that it's still that promise he made to Becca is going to be extremely important to him. So there's real potential there for him to try and redeem him. But I think more than anything else, we're going to see Butcher go even more all out, whatever that means for Butcher. But like, who knows?
Making more desperate moves.
Yeah, exactly. Because now he's got a time limit, so he's really on the clock. So he's got to figure out how to kill Homelander now. And now that he can't take any more Temp V, I feel like the next logical jump is that he'll take like just full blown Compound V. Like I saw them like when they're fighting in the lab at the season finale. I was like, just take a handful of it, take all of it. Like at this point, whoever screw Vought, right? Like you're trying to screw them over anyway.
That's true. Even if you're not going to use it, just like I don't know.
Yeah, wreck their stash. Who cares?
Wreck their stash. I do think. Okay, I see what you're saying. I think he will probably be more desperate trying to save Ryan, in a limited time. But also, do you think that the boys are going to try to save Butcher?
Yeah.
How do you think? Do you think the Compound V is the only way to go? Because I think, I don't know.
Like
people have superpowers.
That's true. Like, I mean, there's a lot of characters. Like, I can't think of like a DC or Marvel character that can just like straight up heal other people.
All I can think of is like anime characters that heal other people.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say
they exist.
Yeah, I was gonna say from the show Heroes, there's a character who could actually just like heal people. So who knows? Maybe there's someone out there, one of the heroes, whoever they are, could actually give them a chance, like
that could send them on like a quest to go find this hero.
Like,
and maybe that's where they meet Tech Knight, wherever they're searching for the...
That's true, yeah. Like I imagine someone like Huey would try their best to try and like to basically try to save Butcher. Yeah.
Totally.
Because like he says, we have to save everybody. Anyone
even
that
the
we can.
ones that don't deserve saving.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that don't. Oh, Huey.
There's a group, I forget what they're called in the comics, but they're basically like the boys' version of X-Men. And their storyline goes, of course, extremely dark. It turns out it's just basically like a pedophile ring.
Of course they would do that.
Of course. It's very edgy. Like a lot of the boys' comics, it's very edgy. So it's essentially that. So they could do something like that where maybe they introduce that team as well. Maybe Tech Knight is a part of it or something, or who knows. But maybe there was a character there. Like there's a lot of, because they introduced Payback this season, which is essentially their version of
That's true.
The Avengers. Seven, of course, is
Justice League.
Justice League.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah. So like maybe there's a version. So maybe they go to the X-Men like team or something, and I'm sure they'll be extremely fucked up in their own way.
That is, I do like that speculation. That could be fun.
Okay, so what do you think? Want to give our overall opinions, ratings?
Yeah, sure. I feel like I'm done with speculations. I might remember something later, but tell us yours in the comments. Yeah, for real. Let us know what you think will happen in season 4. I love speculations.
Yeah, it's always fun theorizing. What do you think? What character do you think they might introduce? Do you think they'll, like the other boys, will get just full-blown Compound V? Do you think Ryan is just going to have to die? Is he going to be redeemable? Who knows?
Also, just for fun, what do you think Frenchie would, like, what do you think his superpower would be if he shot up some V?
That's what I like, too.
I can't decide.
Yeah, it's like in the comics that they're just, like, strength and invulnerability. Boo. But, like, here, it's like Huey gets teleportation. Butcher gets, like, laser vision. I would love to see what Frenchie's power would be. I imagine it's something perverted or off kilter, right? It's got to be something weird. I don't know. Like I just like imagine.
I have no idea.
I don't think they'll do it with Mother's Milk. I think because he's drawn such a hard line, it might feel like a step back for his character or something. But like, I'd be interested to see what his power would be. I imagine it's something close to like Colossus or something, or like maybe like he just like gets like super
muscles.
strong. Yeah, he's physically the strongest, at least on their base level. So something like that, I imagine. But who knows?
Yeah. So your rating? Or do you want me to go first?
No, you can go first.
Just the season?
Yeah, just this season.
Oh, God, this is tough. I forgot that we're supposed to rate them. I forgot this is a TV review podcast.
Yeah.
I really love The Boys. Like, I look away. I cry sometimes. I get really angry. Like, it's fantastic. I'm disgusted. Great disgusted. At the very least, on the shelf.
Okay.
But tentatively on the shelf.
All right.
Okay, you go.
Okay, I'm gonna say I'm also, I think this is one that's like, I definitely put it above. I think it's the best season out of the three, like we said in the beginning. I think a lot of stuff that was like promised and they delivered, and there's a lot of like resolution and interesting things that they set up for the next season and what they just kind of filled out this season. So I'm really happy with the direction the show is going. So yeah, and this was a fantastic season of television. It's like, I don't watch The Boys. I think like many people didn't watch it for the action, but the fact that the action is also kicked it up, it's just really raised.
Really good.
Yeah, it's like it reminds me a lot of like of early Game of Thrones, where it was like the first season, extremely compelling television, the writing and the acting, everything was great. But like you could tell that they didn't have like the biggest budget. But as their budget grew and the production and like everything else kind of just went up,
it stepped up to it.
Yeah.
Took advantage of that.
That's where I think we're getting with The Boys, where it's like every part of the show is just being elevated, and I'm here for it. Can't wait to see where it goes. I'm gonna definitely put it on the shelf. I'm gonna say I'll look back on it in the future. I'll probably put it in the museum. Honestly, overall, the whole series, I hope that they can eventually stick the landing. But as of right now, season 3 on the shelf. I definitely want to own this.
I think overall, I might put like the whole show in the museum. But just this season in particular, there were plot points where I was like, this feels a little bit like it's didn't have to be here. So I think that's the one thing keeping it from in the museum for me. But on the shelf for sure.
Gotcha. Okay, guys. Thanks for listening to our episode. Okay,
go watch The Boys. Go rewatch The Boys.
Go watch The Boys season 3.
Lay your theories on us.
All right, guys. Bye.
Cherish you. Have a good one.